This is David Beckwith. I'm here today to read you the first chapter of the latest book, the third book in the Will and Betsy Black adventure series called Our Narcotic Conspiracy. Before I start, let me give you a little bit of background on the book. When Nancy and I first came to the Keys, there was a house at the end of our block that we never saw any people in. It was just kind of a mysterious empty house that people came and went. So one day we were out in the street talking to one of our neighbors and said, "Well, who owns that house?" And he said, "Oh, you don't know who that house belongs to?" I said, "That was one of the most notorious drug smugglers in the history of the United States. In fact, they had a direct pipeline into the Colombian cartel. They were credited with inventing the mothership-daughtership method of smuggling, in which you put a freighter out in international waters, and then you run the drugs ashore a little at a time on sports boats." And I said, "Oh, yeah?" They said, "Well, yeah." They said, "You notice all the empty lots around that house?" Well, they own all that because they didn't want anybody looking when they were bringing the drugs ashore each night. So anyway, I went on Google and started researching the thing a little bit, and the more I learned about this family, the more I wanted to know about this family. And I finally said, well, gee, this would be a good inspiration for a novel. So anyway, the resulting novel was A Narcotic Conspiracy. I'm about to read to you Chapter 1. The sea was choppy and turbulent, as if trying to predict coming events. The wind had blown relentlessly all night, but it had yet to rain. The Atlantic waves were 3 to 4 feet. It was now 3 a.m. The Coast Guard cutter rolled, but Neil Dixon slept soundly with false serenity in his bunk, not knowing that the most dangerous operation of his career was moments from beginning. In his dreams, he was attending Neil Jr.'s Little League game at Lower Sugarloaf School. It was the top of the eighth, and young Neil was at bat. He tightened his grip. The pitcher threw a slider. Neil wasn't fooled. He swung the bat hard. Just as he connected with the ball, ooga, 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 Neil jarred awake. He was groggy but alert. Ooga, 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 ooga. His brain suddenly registered. It was the ship's horn. The meaning registered. It was showtime. Something big was about to go down. Around him suddenly was a buzz of activity as people hit the floor, simultaneously grabbing their clothing and gear. Tweet! Possible smuggling operation in progress. Squadron 404, prepare for interdiction. He was now fully awake and comprehended the situation at hand. This is what he had trained for since he had joined the Coast Guard's helicopter interdiction tactical squadron known as Hitron. In minutes, he and his fellow trained professionals were aboard an MH-65C Dolphin helicopter. Their mission was clear: intercept the interloper. Use deadly force if necessary. Each was well aware that this could become a dangerous mission, but this is why they were in Hitron. They had been trained by Airborne Use of Force, or known as AUF. One veteran methodically checked his M240 machine gun. Another younger member nervously held his .50 caliber precision rifle. Another checked rappelling equipment. Their captain briefed them as they sped towards their target. Soon they saw it. A 49-foot self-propelled semi-submersible. It looked like something out of a science fiction movie. It had appeared to be what appeared to be 3 snorkels above the surface of the water. There was a small square section raised in the middle with a thin rectangular window on each of the 4 sides. The rogue vessel had about a foot of freeboard. It appeared to be one of the handmade types constructed in the jungles of Colombia. The pregnant-looking craft probably was constructed from a stolen sailboat hull with the mast and rudder removed. The remaining hull had been encased in fiberglass and had been painted blue to blend into the ocean. By most standards for this type of craft, it would be outfitted with a handheld GPS system and loaded with cocaine. The semi-submersible would have a crew of 4 that had guided the boat 2,000 miles from Colombia to the Florida Keys. The Hitron squadron now understood why these craft had been described as looking like a floating log in the middle of the ocean. As Neil and the squad approached the smugglers, they could see that despite the rough seas, the crew was attempting to transfer cargo to a 50-foot go-fast boat with three 350 Merc outboards mounted to the stern, and a deep V racing hull and a long narrow beam. The boat was dark and menacing looking. The squadron respected the cigarette boat, knowing it was capable of maintaining 25 knots even in these choppy waters. Neil's mind momentarily reverted to the training classes he had attended. He knew the submersible crew would most likely attempt to scuttle their craft, drugs and all, rather than have it captured. The best way to capture the vessel was going to be rappel onto the deck before it could be scuttled, and simultaneously capturing the go-fast boat with part of the illegal cargo aboard. The chopper pilot swooped down close to the two boats. Arms flailed and pointed frantically at them before peppering the sky with indiscriminate AK-47 fire. Coast Guardsmen slid down the ropes and onto the decks of both boats breathlessly fast, but not fast enough to stop the sub from being scuttled. Their orders to close the valves were ignored. The smugglers excitedly responded over the din. "Non comprende! Non comprende!" The fourth member of the Narco Sub's crew frantically dialed a number on his cell phone. Senor Jacob, we have been boarded by the Coast Guard. All is lost. I swear there's nothing we could do." He then threw the phone into the sea and jumped overboard himself. Water poured into the hull from below, destroying probably $100 million worth of illegal drugs. It would take less than 2 minutes to send the sub and its load to the bottom. The sub crew wore frazzled life jackets that smelled of diesel. They jumped into the turbulent sea. Neil and one of his fellow rappellers landed on the deck of the go-fast boat. Neil hit hard on the stern and felt his ankle twist. The captain of the go-fast boat jammed all three engines hard into reverse, hoping to throw both the Coast Guard men overboard. Neil managed to keep his balance, but a smuggler immediately hit him hard in the mouth with his AK-47, knocking Neil into the water. The last thing Neil remembered before the racing boat took off into the night was the powerful prop severing his legs at the knees. As things turned black and the sub suction dragged him down, he saw in his mind's eye for the last time Neil Jr. connecting with that fastball in the sweet spot of his bat. The ball went out of the park and into the blue.